Thanks, Senator Tillis. Senator Whitehouse.
Thank you, Chairman Durbin. Thank you both for being here. Mr. Polite, we are going to hear testimony in the next panel from Michigan Secretary of State that, and I quote, an unprecedented wave of continuous, unrelenting harassment and threats has, and I'm quoting again, that the threats are a direct extension of the efforts to spread false information about the security and accuracy of our elections. We are going to hear, I know from the pre-filed testimony of the Secretary of State of New Mexico, that the conspiracies about our voting and election systems have gripped a certain portion of the electorate and have caused people to take action. And we're going to hear from the Executive Director of the Colorado County Clerks Association that the deeply held belief among some that our elections are not secure nor accurate has manifested itself as harassment and outright threats on lives. How does DOJ see the linkage between the deliberate campaign of lies about the recent election and violence and threats against election workers?
Thank you, Senator. Again, our focus is on serious threats of unlawful violence. We are sworn to protect our First Amendment rights of our communities. And so political speech is not our focus at all. It is when these threats constitute serious threats of violence that becomes the focus of the work of the Election Threats Task Force.
Are false and fraudulent speech ordinarily subject to legal consequences, whether civil or criminal?
They could potentially, Senator, but again, the focus of the task force itself is on serious threats of unlawful violence.
Indeed, a campaign of lies by the tobacco industry was put to an end by the Department of Justice in a civil proceeding years ago, was it not?
I believe your recollection is correct, Senator.
That prosecution or that civil case was successful. The Department of Justice won. That successful judgment was upheld by the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia, and the United States Supreme Court denied cert. There was nothing unconstitutional about the department's action against that campaign of lies, was there?
Senator, and I take your question to highlight the fact that there are a number of potential tools that we should be bringing to bear to address these types of communications, these serious threats of unlawful violence in our communities.
What if there were a plan to propagate a fraudulent lie for the purpose of inciting threats to the larger end of compromising America's election integrity? Would that pattern of facts be beyond the reach of the United States Department of Justice?
Senator, I cannot speak to the existence of any potential investigations. It's tough for me to address the answer.
Not asking you to. I'm asking you basically a legal question, which is, if you had a plan that was designed to propagate a fraudulent lie that had the intention of inciting threats against election officials so as to interfere with the sanctity of American elections, as a matter of law, would that be beyond the reach of the Department of Justice?
Senator, we would certainly take that type of an allegation very seriously. It's a hypothetical, but I can tell you in that circumstance, as we do with all of our cases, we would follow the facts and the law as appropriate.
Well, we draft laws here, and this is the Judiciary Committee. So if there is a gap of some kind in American law that would prevent us from defending our elections in that way, from defending our election workers in that way, and for defending against persistent and deliberate fraud in that way, I would ask you to bring that gap to our attention.
Certainly, Senator. I certainly look forward to working with you on those potential proposals, including gaps in terms of resources related to providing security resources for this election community.
Yeah, because if there's a plan, it's a slightly different thing than if it's just random speech, isn't it?
A planned conspiracy certainly would be different from the substantive underlying conduct. Yes, that's correct, Senator.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thanks, Senator Whitehouse. Senator Blackburn.